Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Adnastana. Just got back from my lodge here. I'm still a little hoarse. Smoked a couple cigars after the meeting was over with my brothers. But it's a pleasure to be bringing you this segment and revisiting an organization called the Royal Antediluvian Order of Buffaloes, and also bringing back my friend Paul Martin Harper. Now, you saw him here last year where we were introducing his podcast called the Buffed Up Podcast. And Paul Martin Harper belongs to the Royal Antediluvian Order of Buffaloes in Cyprus, okay? And he's here to talk about the Royal Antediluvian Order of Buffaloes. And this is an organization we featured many times here on Points of Light Radio. Really needs no introduction. But I really, it was such a pleasure fellowshipping with him again. A little jealous, the weather we're having lately. It was a beautiful sunny weather. It looked like that they were having there in Cyprus. So let's move forward with that, with our interview here, and trim your lamps. Follow me. Brother Harper, welcome to Points of Light Radio.
Thank you very much, Brother Stan. How things going there?
Oh, they keep me busy, you know what I mean? So you're the city secretary of the James Mercury Lodge, as I understand it.
Yes. As time goes by, you sort of add a couple of titles as well. So,
yeah. Well, why don't you tell my listeners and viewers about yourself and those titles?
I joined the bus about 6 years ago. I went through the process and I became a certified primer. I'm now a Knight Order of Merit. Wow. This year I've been put into the enviable position of president of the Knights chapter, and I'm also the Grand Treasurer for the Grand Lodge of Cyprus.
What's the Grand Knights chapter about?
We each have sort of groups. So you have Knights chapter, where when you become a knight, you become a member of the Knights chapter in your area, and then when you get moved up to Roll of Honor, you become a member of the Roll of Honor Assembly. So it's sort of a group of your peers together.
Now tell us about the James Mercury Lodge. How long has it been around again?
Oh my God. A considerable amount of time, because we actually had a member join us last year who was in the original James Mercury Lodge back in the early 90s when it was at Iron Nicholas military base in Cyprus, because he came along wearing his sash which said Iron Nick. Oh, that's an old one. I didn't realize that we were up there.
Wow.
So it's been going a considerable time now.
Now, do you guys have any type of amity with the Grand Lodge of England?
Yes. Obviously, the Grand Lodge of Cyprus falls under the umbrella of the Grand Lodge of England, but we're I suppose, relatively autonomous. We have our own rule book. We have our own rules and ceremonies committee. So we sort of built it to suit Cyprus.
Okay, well. And now I understand there's 4 degrees to the organization.
Yep.
So tell us about them.
Okay, when you start off, for some bizarre reason, they call the first degree a kangaroo. Probably because you're jumping around trying to do everything.
Yeah.
But once you've visited had the panel of instructors sort you out, and you go before the examination board, then you become a certified primer if they think you know the rules and how to run a lodge properly. You have to be a certified primer before you can run a lodge. After, I think, 3 or 4 years, you then become a Knight Order of Merit if the lodge put you forward for it. Obviously, it's got to be a decision amongst the lodge. Yes, this is a good candidate for the next degree. So they vote on that, and then you become a Knight Order of Merit, which means you have a nice little red ribbon around your neck.
Okay.
And after several more years, you become a Roll of Honor member, which is this very light baby blue.
Is there memory work though involved and stuff like that?
And not for a certified primo, yes.
Yeah.
You've got to have a well-founded knowledge of the rules and regulations and ceremonies in the lodge. Because obviously you have to be a certified primo if you want to carry out an initiation. So initiating a new brother into the order. But Knight Order of Merit and Roll of Honor, it's a different sign, a different password, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not going to give you, by the way.
Oh, that's okay. You could give it to me, but then you'd have to kill me, I'm sure. Yeah, but
Yeah, exactly. We don't want that stuff.
so what do you feel the core message though is of the RAOB? What do you think their core message? If you,
Fraternity, it's the fraternalism and benevolence. We do an awful lot of charity work. Our main charity out here in Cyprus is the Holiday of a Lifetime, and we invite kids from various backgrounds to come out here. Sometimes, with varying degrees of illnesses, come out here with their carers and have a holiday. They have sort of 7 to 10 days out here where we pay them for the flights, the hotel accommodation, their food, their trips as well. We send them out on the pirate ship. They become Captain Jack Sparrow for the day, and we take them up to the planetarium this year, which they thoroughly enjoyed. But yeah, it's we have a very strong group of supporters as well. It's not just the buffs. Obviously, to raise funds like that, you're talking, quite a large amount of money. So we need non-buff members, if you know what I mean.
yeah, I hear you.
And we have events right through the year where we have barbecues, we have race nights, we have quiz nights, you name it, we do it. Our big one's coming up on the 20th of June. Actually, it's the Holiday of a Lifetime summer ball, where we raise a lot of funds as well. But that's our main outlook. But it's not just that. I mean, Cyprus being a small island like it is sometimes we have really bad fires, and villages are decimated. Last year, the James Mercury Lodge and the Decalia Garrison Lodge both together a large amount of food hampers. I think we spent nearly $2,000 on our local charities budget to get these food hampers just to help people out who had lost everything. So we look around at the various charities in the area as well. It's not just sort of England focused, if you know what I mean.
I hear you. Would you say though that's what you enjoy most about it?
Yeah, it is. It's an opportunity, for new people to the island to come along and meet other people. So it's a great opportunity for that, and you meet people from all walks of life. You've got builders, people who work in finance, tour guides, you name it, all members of the buffs, which I think is quite nice, because then you get a sort of a bigger a circle of friends. In this case, a circle of brothers, like literally fraternalism.
Yeah, and I agree with you that because when you go into these lodges, yeah, you have your secret work and your grips and your passwords, but it's the charitable work you do. And one of those beautiful things about it, these guys from all walks of life walk in. They're doctors, lawyers, steel workers, millwrights, electricians. We all walk in there, and we're all on that level playing field.
Yeah.
People talk about like all the class system that exists in society. You don't see that when you walk into a lodge. We're all on a level playing field. You can
No,
sit
exactly.
have a drink next to a laborer can sit across from a lawyer and have a drink and be perfectly comfortable.
Exactly, and there's also something very familiar about a lodge. I went back to the UK to the Grand Lodge of England's meeting in December last year. We had an entourage go across and provide some certificates and a membership to various Grand Primos that have been. But I discovered quite early on in my bus career that my grandfather on my mother's side was a buff.
Oh, awesome.
So that then fascinated me, because I wanted to know a bit more. And while I was out there, I stayed out for an extra couple of days, and I went to a couple of other lodges. But even though you don't know a single person in that lodge, I'd never met any of them.
Yeah.
It felt comfortable, as I walked into my granddad's lodge. It felt familiar.
Mm.
You all do the same things, whether you're the Grand Lodge of England, the Grand Lodge of Cyprus, the Grand Lodge of Australia, or wherever. Um, the things that we do generally are exactly the same.
Yeah. And I've often talked about that too, though. I think you'll agree because people ask about all this secret work and blah, blah, blah. You know what? That's really what binds you together. You have that shared experience. When you walk in there, you have that shared experience with these lads. You can actually, hey, you know what I mean? Because I've often talked about that at other points in my podcast that, we learn so much when we go through these degrees and they really give you that lesson. And
Yeah.
it's that common bond we have between us, like I think you'll agree.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. What made me quite upset was my grandfather used to live across the road from the lodge.
Wow.
And when I got there, I discovered that it's now a Chinese takeaway.
I hear you. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
my mother would have done hand flips if she'd found out.
Oh, yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, it kind of proves my point though. As much as things change, they still stay the same. It might be a Chinese takeaway, but it's still a lodge the other side, and they still do the same stuff.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Well, let tell me how that buffed up podcast is doing. I did a segment with you early last year, I believe it was. And how's it going with that?
Yeah, it seems to be growing okay. We've also started doing quick bites, so to speak,
Good.
where we just grab a member and we ask them how long they've been in the order, where they joined, and their names, what degree they are, and what they think of it. So, a little 30-second, 45-second, just to get to know the guys as well, because that's part of fraternalism. I mean,
Yeah.
as a member of the lodge, you should know pretty much everything there is to know about the person sat next to you. We're not a bunch of strangers, we're a bunch of brothers.
What are you learning from that?
An awful lot about people I didn't
Yeah.
realize.
Because I like to
uh,
do the same thing, like when even in my lodge, well, I'll sit down with a guy who's been in, who's made up in England or whatever, and you sit there and what's the difference between the two, or what are you seeing, or what have you saw as you went along? You learn
yeah,
anything as like, especially when you talk to the older members.
exactly. Yeah. The older members are fountains of knowledge,
Mhm.
and we should all try and remember that as much as possible because, it's like us young people, we always sort of we look at the elders and we go, okay, yeah, he's going on about that again. But if you actually sit down and you talk to them, they're an absolute font of knowledge,
Mhm.
and they're very necessary in a lodge as well.
Has it really, do you find doing that has really deepened your knowledge or your enriched your experience within the RAOB? Because it's got such a wonderful message to it, like I said, and
No, it is. It does. You learn how things have been done in the past, and you look at that and you go, well, will that still work in today's world?
Mhm.
And unfortunately, sometimes not. But having an understanding that they've done it this way means doesn't mean you can't try and do it that way, or you
Mhm.
can't mix the two together.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite important. This is like, I mean, recruitment's always an issue, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah.
It's not easy to recruit people because of the sort of veil of secrecy that's sort of been thrust upon us.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the signs and passwords, but people all think you're a secret organization when you
Oh,
go
yeah.
on the buffs or I'm a member of the Masons or whatever. And there's kind of that concern as to what you get up to. But nowadays, being able to go out and talk to people and go, no, no, we
Well, a lot of
don't. Let's not
people,
watch
do
this.
you agree with me? A lot of people think it's just going to eat up so much of their time. You're like, well, what do you think we do? Like, how often do you think we meet?
They can do it if you choose to.
Yeah.
There are various committees. In Cyprus, there's the Holiday of a Lifetime Committee. There's the Grand Lodge of Cyprus Management Committee. There's the Rules and Ceremonies Committee. There are all sorts of things you can get involved in. But then that's the idea of getting to know people because you know where their strengths are. So
Yeah.
if you've got someone who's really good at cooking, you're not going to put them in the rules and ceremonies committee. You're gonna put them in with the guys who do the most of the cooking for the barbecues and the events. So again, it's getting to know people, knowing where their strengths lie, and putting them in positions like that, or giving them the opportunity to move ahead and do what they're really good at.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out today to speak to me, Brother Harper, and all the best to you and the James Mercury Lodge, and of course that Buffed Up podcast. All the best to you, and have yourself a great day.
Thank you. You too, Stan. Thank you.
That was Paul Martin Harper, brothers and sisters. Right. I just love revisiting organizations like the Royal Antediluvian Order of Buffaloes, and I don't say that because I'm a I'm a member at large of the James Mercury Lodge, but I'm really happy to see that the lodge itself is growing. I also am so happy to hear that the Buffed Up podcast that Brother Harper is running is doing so well. It's evolving, and I love what he talked about, how having that podcast has really reinforced how much he loves being part of the Royal Antediluvian Order of Buffaloes. And I will say that as a podcaster, I think that's what makes what I do rewarding here on Points of Light Radio, is how much I learn, right? It reinforces how I feel about the fraternalism. Many people think fraternalism is some spooky type of thing, or that it's going to eat up a whole lot of your time. It can eat up as much or as little of your time as you let it. That's as simple as that. I mean, and as I keep saying, yeah, we have grips, we have passwords, we have secret works and rituals, but that's just part of it. Think of the great work, like he talked about, the James Mercury Lodge is doing for charities, for individuals, many of whom, and most of whom, in fact, are not even part of the order, right? And of course, I love, he reinforced also what I said, that the great works begin in house. They take care of one another as well within house. I think I love that part of it, right? But I'd love to have him back here, as and as well as more members of the RAOB there in Cyprus. But that's all I have time for today. Before I go, as usual, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. And of course, as always, I want to welcome your comments and input. You can see the link to my PayPal. You can hit on that link, make a voluntary donation to the podcast. We will use that to move Points of Light Radio forward. You can see the link to my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio. My X handle is at PO Light Radio. My Bluesky handle is at POLightradio.bsky.social. You can see the link to my Spotify channel, as well as my Points of Light Radio store. Brothers and sisters, until we meet again, just step into the light.